Yo, welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope everyone's doing well. In this video, I'm going to go over Bitcoin and Ethereum because I want to speak about the weekly closes. As you can see, Bitcoin and ETH were up pretty much the most last week. Obviously, Bitcoin up 10%, which is crazy. And I want to speak about Bitcoin dominance as well compared to the altcoin market. The altcoin market still hasn't really done anything, right? There's obviously a few coins that are doing quite well, but in general, it's still lagging behind. So I want to speak about those factors. So let's get straight into it. It should be a quick and short video, but it should be informative. So let's have a look at Bitcoin firstly. So Bitcoin 10% candle. This is pretty much, if we bring it from this low, literally around about 10% from the open to the close. You can go obviously from the low to the highs a little bit more, but 10% on the week is absolutely massive, right? So if we look at this weekly candle, I mean, it's looking super bullish, right? It's looking super clean. There is a chance that we have to keep this in mind, right? Remember, I'm just going to put this over here. We have to keep this in mind. We might see a retest of 119,400, right? This is pretty much the key resistance, right? If we look in the weekly time frame. So we have potential for Bitcoin, although it's looking super bullish on the weekly. There is a potential for it to come down and tap these levels here, right? So that is an option, right? We look at the daily time frame, we can see that okay, the past couple of days, just been bullish, right? But the problem is, if you look at the daily, what I don't like about the daily time frame is the current date didn't close above that daily high over there, right? So this to me seems like there could be a rejection happening within this level, right? So that is when we go to lower time frames and see if there's like a break of structure or something that is changing direction from this bullish price action, right? So you can obviously look at this on the daily time frame, but when you see rejections on the higher time frames, then you can go to the lower time frames and start making assumptions that, is this changing structure? Is this actually, changing direction, right? So on the 4-hour time frame, you can see it's a rejection zone over here. You can also look at pretty much same type of level, but we couldn't close above this level on the daily, and that's the most important part. Obviously the 4-hour we did close above that zone, but it's showing rejection, right? We look at the 1-hour time frame, you can see okay, the 1-hour time frame still holding this upward sloping trend line, right? So if we draw this in over here, just from this low to this low over here, this is going to be something that you should keep in mind, right? Let me just put that back on the chart. This is the level that you should keep in mind for Bitcoin today, right? Because the thing is with Bitcoin, daily time frame showing that it's obviously bullish, but it's showing that we couldn't close above this level, right? So my whole thing is, in order for structure to change, you also have to close above the wicks as well. You can't just close above the body candle, because on the lower time frames the wicks are also just candles, right? But on the higher time frames they're wicks because it's a higher time frame. Yeah. So essentially for Bitcoin, you can see okay, right now something is happening where there is a potential of Bitcoin coming down, right? But there's also potential for Bitcoin to go up. You can see there's two types of levels that I'll be focusing on today, right? We have this level over here, okay? If we extend this, guys, we can see that this bullish fair value gap basically is showing that this is where buyers are stepping in, right? They're stepping in within this level. So what I would probably wait for, if I'll be looking for sells, right, I'd wait for Bitcoin to close below this level, get a retest, and we look for sells all the way back down to here, and then that's when you could look for the longs for Bitcoin, right? This is where I'd be looking to focus on longs for Bitcoin, right? The thing is, right now the weekly time frame is bullish, but there is a potential for us to actually come back down and get some longs off these levels, right? So the lower time frame showing that there is a potential for us to get a bit of a move to the downside, and we can capitalize on that, right? So this is what I would probably focus on for Bitcoin. For the buy side scenario, without getting the sell side, there is something that we could look at here. There is this gap over here in the market. For the 1 hour, you would have to see price get back above there for me to consider longs. But I'm looking more so at a potential rejection from this previous high, and then look for longs a little bit later on. Okay, so this is something that I'm focusing on for the day / week. It is coming to a close call here because we are coming to the trend line, right? So we'll see what happens, but this is exactly what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. Okay, that is Bitcoin. Then we want to jump to Ethereum quickly. Okay, so if we look at Ethereum on the weekly time frame, also had a beautiful weekly close, right? A nice little weekly close. The nice thing with ETH is, we spoke about this last week, right? Perfect rejection from previous resistance, right? So if we look at the daily time frame, we can see, okay, well, the daily time frame is showing that price is still not getting above this level here, right? So you can see with this market, this looks like a V-shaped recovery, right? But the problem is, we still have levels that price needs to get above in order for continuation, right? So I want to see price start getting back above here. This level, the reason why it's this level is because this is your previous resistance. You can see price also getting rejected from the zone multiple times. This is a bearish fair value gap as well. We have rejections over here. So this is the level that I would focus on for Ethereum on the daily time frame, first of all, right? 4 hour time frame showing that nothing. I don't really like this price action right now. I want to see a bit more clearer price action. So for Ethereum, we would probably just have to wait for the daily candle here. We could go in the lower time frames for ETH, but it's just the price action for me is just, it's not really giving anything, right? There is obviously this bearish gap that, you know, price is obviously getting respected by, even on the lower time frames, the 15, you can still see it. You know, same thing with ETH, I guess. The only way you go short here is when you break this trend, right? And potentially, you know, coming down and breaking this low would flip the daily candle bearish, right? Because think about it, on the lower time frames, if you're taking sells down from this level, this candle will flip bearish, right? So you would have to look at where can we go from there as well, right? So we have key levels over there, around about this zone, okay? So this is what I'd probably focus on if I'd be looking for the sell side scenario, right? The reason why it's this zone, we have multiple support over here. We have this bullish fair value gap as well getting respected. So if we were to take sells off this 1 hour break of trend, slash 15-minute break of trend, then this would be the play. Look for sells back down to this level, right? But I'm not seeing this price action. It's more so with Bitcoin, it makes more sense, right? With Bitcoin, it just makes more sense because the price action is showing us that we could potentially get that a weekly rejection slash that daily rejection, right? Because the daily candle did not close above that high, right? So that is pretty much what I'm looking at. I do think Bitcoin has potential to reset a little bit. You know, this reset is obviously not a bearish thing at all. It's just grabbing liquidity in order to push price higher. But the problem is right now, it's Bitcoin looking good, right? But altcoins not really, right? Even though this chart's looking good, if I pull out an altcoin chart, most of them aren't looking too great. You obviously get the odd one like BNB, right? For example, like BNB has been making all-time highs after all-time highs. So there's a couple tokens that are looking good. Remember, we actually bought spot on this breakout a couple weeks ago or months ago in the Telegram group. So BNB is pretty much just keeps on going higher and higher. So there's obviously a couple coins that are looking decent, but still nothing really, right? And it's weird to say that because Total 3 still looks really bullish, right? And it's due to the fact that Bitcoin dominance. Let's have a look at Bitcoin dominance. This thing has been pumping, right? Last week it had a nice little pump on the daily, but the thing is with Bitcoin dominance, it's still in a bearish structure, right? So that's why I'm still really bullish on altcoins right now. That's why I'm not really interested in taking shorts with altcoins. Bitcoin dominance is still in bullish structure, bearish structure. So that's why I'm still focusing more on the altcoins, right? Obviously Bitcoin can come down here, which is what I'm looking at. But in terms of just looking at Bitcoin dominance, right? This could just be a retrace back to this this bearish fair value gap, and we get a rejection coming back down, right? So that's why I'm kind of just waiting, right? Yeah, we have to be patient here. Same thing with like Aster, right? This thing absolutely played out beautifully, right? Still, if you guys are still in this trade, I think most of you guys did take this trade. I didn't take it, but there is a potential for another setup. What I'm looking at within this setup, right? We just get a break of trend over here, and then we look for continuation, right? So Aster's also looking good. I'm looking at this today, but yeah, I'm kind of just waiting, guys. I'm just being patient and waiting for these setups. It's been quite tricky because some tokens just they get the reaction off these levels, but some tokens aren't getting the reactions off these levels. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm gonna wait for a couple setups. So make sure you guys do join the Telegram group. I hope we do get that set up for Bitcoin today. So basically, just looking at BTC, because the altcoins right now, they're not. I'm not really looking at anything because of the fact that Bitcoin dominance is pumping. So I need to see Bitcoin dominance start to lose strength before I look at some altcoins. Although we are looking at Kronos as well. We are looking at Asta. So we are looking at a few. But in terms of the whole general market, I want to see Bitcoin dominance come down a little bit more. But yeah, this is what I'm looking at for BTC. Hopefully we can get this today. But yeah, see you guys in the Telegram group.